Thank you for inviting me this evening. It's a real pleasure to be here at the first Responsible Capitalist Awards, and I apologise for my late arrival and speedy departure, but such is the power of the Whip's office, I'm afraid. I think we can probably all agree that it's been an interesting year. I suspect that there won't be many people in this room who would have predicted a year ago a vote from the British people in June to leave the European Union, a new Prime Minister and Cabinet, and across the pond a new President-elect who defied the pollsters, pundits and bookmakers. And if there is anybody in the room who predicted all those things, I hope they got a few pounds on at the bookmakers, because I think the odds of all three of those things happening would probably have been pretty good. The lessons we should draw from the referendum outcome here in the UK and from the extraordinary course of the presidential election in the United States, and perhaps the outcomes of other upcoming tests of public opinion across Europe, will of course be pored over by historians and political scientists for years to come. Is it a lasting reverberation of the financial crisis, or a reflection of the impacts of loose monetary policy since, or perhaps globalization, or trade liberalization, or technological progress? History will judge. But in the meantime, there are some things that we do know for sure. Productivity growth and trade, key drivers of household living standards and prosperity, have both slowed across the world. And public attitudes towards globalization and economic liberalism are shifting too. Many in the developed economies feel left behind, do not feel that they are part of our overall economic success, that capitalism, globalization, liberalism are not working for them. And that's before we really start to get to grips with the next round of technology-driven change, which will again fundamentally alter the ways in which we work and in which we live. As the Prime Minister set out in her speech at the Mansion House 2 weeks ago, as politicians, we have to understand what lies behind this shift in attitudes, and we have to respond to it. In this country, we have to ensure that the benefits of economic growth are spread more evenly across the country and more evenly across the generations. And we have to give people the sense of hope that comes from the confidence in a better life for their children, even if things are tough for them. And of course, we have to ensure that where markets are not working effectively, where consumers are not getting a fair deal, where competition is restricted or outcomes are manipulated, that those failings in the marketplace are swiftly addressed. But we also have to be willing to defend the significant benefits that globalization and economic liberalism have brought. They've lifted hundreds of millions of people out of poverty across the globe in the space of a couple of decades. International trade has brought nations and peoples closer together by weaving a web of interlocking economic ties. And globalization has radically improved standards of living for vast numbers of people, increasing consumer choice and levels of household wealth. So we have to be prepared to stand up to those who seek to attack and undermine the very foundations of our economic success, and we have to be clear what a tremendous force for good business, responsible business, can be. And that, of course, is what this evening is all about, responsible business. We all know that the latest research shows that customers are more aware of responsible business practices than ever before. And that's even more the case amongst the younger generation, who will shape consumer trends in the future. We know that doing business responsibly makes commercial sense, that those companies that engage their employees in the success of their business and those who put social and environmental responsibility at the heart of their business model can be amongst the most successful. And the businesses that are receiving awards tonight are exemplars of that approach and have much to be proud of. They set a fantastic example for others to follow. They operate in industries as diverse as tea and T-shirts, but the one thing they have in common is their commitment to more than just the bottom line. Or perhaps what they have in common is an understanding that a commitment to their broader responsibilities will often help to deliver a healthy bottom line. There is much that the wider business community can learn from them. I'm very glad to have been able to join you tonight and to lend my support to this important agenda, and I congratulate all the winners and everybody else who's been involved with organising this important event. So I look forward to meeting and congratulating the winners in person, and I hope that everyone has an excellent evening, and I'm just sorry that I will have to leave very shortly. But thank you very much again for being here this evening.